Welcome to the iATAC Soccer Podcast, an educational resource for parents and players focused on soccer development.
We sit down with top players, coaches, and industry experts to explore their journey to greatness in the game. I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Chris Martinez. Together we have a combined 50-plus years of coaching, training, and playing experience, spanning from youth soccer to the professional level.
What you're about to enjoy is a free preview of our podcast episode. The full episode is only available to our premium members.
To become a member, visit iatacsoccer.com. Today we're joined by one of the brightest coaching minds and rising leaders in American soccer, Eric Quill, head coach of FC Dallas in Major League Soccer.
A former MLS standout and U.S. Youth International, Coach Quill has become a proven developer of talent and a coach with a championship pedigree. He led North Texas SC to a USL League One title in 2019, earning Coach of the Year honors while helping launch the careers of future U.S. men national team players like Ricardo Pepi, Brian Reynolds, and Tanner Tessman.
From capturing a U.S. Development Academy national title with Texans SC, to coaching in MLS with Columbus Crew, to transforming New Mexico United into a serious contender in the USL Championship, Quill has developed a reputation for building winning teams and unlocking player potential at every level.
Now leading FC Dallas, he brings unmatched experience across youth, pro, and national team environments and a clear, forward-thinking vision rooted in player development and competitive excellence.
Eric is more than a coach. He's a developer of talent, a shaper of culture, and a leader with a proven blueprint for success. Eric, welcome to the iATAC Soccer Podcast. Eric, first and foremost, so great to have you on. You and I, we go way back, coaching against each other at the youth level or being assistant coaches together with the U.S. youth national teams and everything in between. So first of all, thanks for sharing your time with us. We know you're a busy guy and, cannot wait for you to be on our show today, our podcast, and our listeners and viewers they're in for a real treat. So thanks so much for joining us.
Well, it's the pleasure's mine. As you said, we go way back in the youth developmental sector, and it's a space that I'm super passionate about, and the sport in general, and where it's going. And so, to get any platform to help U.S. soccer, help coaches, help players, I'm all for. So I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome.
Well, that's actually perfect because iATAC Soccer Academy was put together by Chris and I to really take good players and try and make them great players. And in order to be able to do that, we need to have a complete player. And we oftentimes talk about pillars of the game. The technical side of the game, players need to be proficient there. Tactically, understanding the game at a very, very high level. The physical side of the game, how important that is. And then obviously the mindset, psychological side. So with that being said, I want to ask a pretty deep question right out of the gate, if you don't mind. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you this question. So, Eric, what do you believe is currently missing or needs more emphasis in the development of USA players for us to achieve greater national success?
I think there's a few things, but for me, what I've noticed over the years is U.S. soccer. We've got the best athletes in the world, and we don't, in my opinion, understand. I think we've lost our understanding of how to get out in space and really use our athleticism and speed to our advantage. I think somewhere along the line, which I agreed with, was playing through lines, possession-based soccer, which I believe is important. But it became such a positional play and stagnates a little bit of what we're really, really great at. And I think I've noticed that players' ability to understand how to get into space, everybody kind of wants the ball to feet these days to take guys underneath the game and go one versus versus getting out on the break and getting to goal as fast as possible. I think and we have amazing technical, but also, speed. That speed is, if we put more of a transitional emphasis on where we want to go with our profiles, I think we can hurt the upper echelons of the world more than we do. And I think we've fallen into this, I think, decade or more of just positional play and possession-based soccer and I think you got to have both. I mean, versatility, obviously, for me, I believe in versatility. I noticed with a lot of players, them just tracking a ball over the top in space is hard for our young players these days. It's almost like the kid chasing a fly ball. Like it's a learned attribute, but if you're always playing on the ground and always to feet, you're not learning that special aspect that like you hear it all the time, that you need to be able to go over the top of opponents too. If you're gonna try to play underneath them all the time, you can be game planned against and you can get yourself locked. And but being able to go around, through, and over is important. And I think the youth sector needs to, I think, go back to really making this a priority to understand how to go over the top of opponents and get the goal fast. So
Okay.
that's an area that I think can improve.
Well, my follow-up question, I think you touched on it. Do you think the shift that you're talking about, this athleticism, decisions to take advantage of space in behind through athleticism, I think I'm hearing you say you're hoping there can be a shift in the youth club level towards this, so that when you receive players at the pro level, they're already ingrained in this. Is that part of the solution that you see?
It'd be my preference. I think we all have our different ideas of how we see the game, but for me, I look at the history of football in this country, who we were before, who we are now. I know there's a lot of frustration with kind of where we are at the moment, and I just fed firmly and out and analyzing. I just think we kind of need to go back a little bit to the roots of our who we are, and we used to be a big crossing country. Get in the wide areas, cross the ball in. I know we don't. I don't, the crossing's a lost art these days. Um, I think we're not utilizing our profiles to the best of our abilities, and I think that if there's it's my recognition. It's just how I would want to change a little bit of the priority here in the country as to how we play. I'd like us to just utilize our speed and athleticism, and obviously with technique. We've got plenty of technical players, so that have pace and they have speed, and along with our mentality is always, people have questioned it lately, I think, with this generation of player, but I think the mentality is, along with playing our style, which is fast and athletic, and I think we can turn the corner. Um, so that would just be my sort of positional stance.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
So Eric, since you touched on the physical component, right, talking about balls over the top, utilizing speed, athleticism, as players progress through the various stages of the game, what particular areas throughout these stages should coaches address or look to implement with these players, like from the youth game as they progress and get older? What are the important physical areas that these coaches should look to focus on?
I mean, the endurance factor is important. So finding, again, getting out on the run and on the break is because every turnover, in my opinion, if you're going to play this style, you got to. It's not the two or three players, by the way. It's 10 guys need to be transitioning out in space and together at full speed, right? So if you turn it back over, you're in good prevention shapes and you're not all stretched apart. So it's not just about wingers getting out into space. It's about everybody, outside backs, center, getting full velocity up the field as fast as possible. And so endurance is a massive piece of this physical factor. And so you can get endurance with the ball. I'm not talking about lining guys up on a line and running, but ball endurance,
Right.
chewing things up on the dribble, chewing space up on the dribble until the right time to pass into space is there. Right? I see so many times guys will come back to the ball with a guy that's on the ball and he's got 30 yards of space. Needs to eat that up and just get to the highest line if you're a support player getting out wide. So it's that spacing, that understanding of the patterns. And what I see in the youth game, in the youth sector a lot, is you see four teams on one field. right? And
Yep.
that's a problem. That's a problem when you want to talk about transitions, like real transitions for the game. Because the business side, I get it. More teams you have on a field, the more teams you can have, and if you don't have a facility that's got multiple facility or fields, right? You try to maximize and put people in quadrants, but that's only adhering to the possession play a lot of times. And so rondos and possession grids are set up all, and I believe in those. Those can't go amiss. But how are we hitting the other phases of the game that need space to be the priority?
Thank you for tuning into this special preview of our podcast. What you just heard is only the first 10 minutes of the episode.
If you want full access to this episode, plus all other guest episodes, visit iATACsoccer.com and become a premium member for only $9.95 a month.
Lastly, your support will help us to provide high-quality soccer content without relying on ads.
Visit iATACsoccer.com and join our community.